Yo, what's going on, guys? Steel Vico here, and welcome back to another video. And in this video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to audio rip a modern Spirit Halloween animatronic. This has been requested by a viewer, and I think it's been requested a few times in the past, and I just am now getting around to it. So I apologize for the wait on this, because I know there's a few of you that have been wanting to see this. But a few disclaimers right up front. This is for modern Spirit Halloween animatronics only that have a external speaker jack. This will not work with animatronics without that. There is a similar method that you can do if it doesn't have a speaker jack, but that's a little more in-depth. And there is a video by somebody else out there that I can link if you want, that shows you how to do that. And I don't really want to steal their views because they've already made a very good tutorial on that. So I can link to that if you want. Anyway, here's what you will need for this audio rip. Obviously, you'll need a Spirit Halloween animatronic that's modern with a speaker jack, like I mentioned. Today, I will be using nozzles. Also, I apologize for the lighting in here. It's still kind of night out, so. But I will turn on the lights when necessary. But right now, you won't need it. So you'll need a modern Spirit Halloween animatronic. As I said, I'll be using nozzles for this. Just because I haven't audio ripped them yet. You'll need a laptop or a computer of some kind that is capable of having the Audacity app or the Audiotonic app. As you can see, Audiotonic is essentially Audacity, but it's just made for Windows devices. So if you have another device that's able to use Audiotonic, you can use that as well, or another device that has Audacity. You can totally just use that instead. So finally, the last two things you will need will be the most important, honestly. So for one, an auxiliary cable, which is essentially, this is the end of an auxiliary cable. It doesn't have to be a gold color. It's kind of gold. This one happens to be gold colored. Doesn't matter. It's just this end that plugs in, and it'll be two of the same on both sides. If you do a different audio rip where it doesn't have the external speaker jack, you will also need one of these, but it will have to be heavily modified, and I'm not going to get into that for this video. But you'll need this cable, and if you're using a laptop that is at all similar to mine, my laptop only has a headphone jack. It does not have a jack capable of audio input into the device. So you will need basically a splitter. What this is you plug this into your jack, and this basically turns it from headphones only to headphone and microphone. So you will need this for your audio rip if you want to record it, because you can't, if you plug this in as is without this device into something like this laptop, it will not record the audio. It will basically be trying to use this as a headphone, which means the laptop only outputs. So you'll need this in order to input audio. Anyway, that's everything you'll need, so let's get to how to actually do the audio rip. I just think it's important to elaborate on this because I originally, when I first wanted to do this, very much struggled because I was just trying to use this and it wasn't working. That's because this is, right now, without this piece, just a headphone jack. So before you even set up, activate Audiotonic, Audacity, either one. You do want to plug your adapter in. The adapter can come in a few different forms. I have a separate one that I was unable to find for this video that is a USB. So you plug the USB in, and then it's essentially this with a splitter, but it's like a block shape. But they basically both are the same. They will work the same way. But anyway, plug this in here. And this is the one that's for the microphone. I believe there will be a microphone logo on there. I think. Yep, I hope you guys can kind of see that. It's a microphone right there. You want to plug in your one of the ends for the auxiliary cable into the microphone side. Sorry about that. It's spinning a little bit. You completely ignore this one. This one is just not necessary. You will not be needing it for this rip. So up next here, you will want to boot up your Audiotonic Audacity app here. Now that this is plugged in, so that it can detect it. This will pop up for some annoying reason. So up here, you will have a few options and a few settings that you're going to need to tinker with a little bit. So on here, which is the microphone, right now it's set to headset microphone. That's not the one you want. You want the headset microphone, I believe, is what you are looking at. You're going to need to tinker around a little bit and figure out what it's going to be specifically for your laptop, but basically you want to select this. This device right here is what you want it to input from. But basically this is going to be what you're going to want to select and get the audio from. It's going to be different for everybody, so just tinker around with that for a few minutes until you figure out which device is actually the one you want. So the next step here is going to be taking the other end of your auxiliary cable, which is the end that's not plugged in to the adapter into your laptop computer, whatever, what have you. And you'll see here on nozzles here, any animatronic, I believe, modern day, that has an external speaker jack, you've got it labeled speaker jack. Plug this in like so. Make sure it's all the way in there. There's like kind of got to push a little bit hard till you can kind of hear it pop in there. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn him. He is on. Plug him in, and you can run him. But before you plug it in at all, this first take, the first recording you are going to do, is not going to be the one you're going to want to keep because you need to tinker with a few settings once he is running. So right now, I'm going to just press the record button. And as you can see, right now there's no audio going out. And you can see we picked the right inputs because I'm talking right now and it's not picking my voice up, which is exactly what you want. So right now you can see he is talking and the audio is going out. However, you'll notice how the audio is peaking. It goes into the red zone right there as he speaks, and you do not want that. If you keep it like that and you use this audio, it is going to sound really bad, and it's going to be really loud, and it is going to kill your headphone users. You're going to get something like my original Jack Straw audio rip, and which is just something you completely don't want, guys. And if you don't know what you're talking about, headphone users, beware, turn down your volume, prepare for this, because this is just awful. Now you might be wondering, how do you counteract this? How do you make it so that it records at a volume that isn't like that? Well, as you can see here, right now it says recording volume is 0.88. That is essentially 88% the original volume of your audio. As you can see, that's way too high because we're getting into the red zone. Now, it's a little subjective of what you want and what volume you're okay with listening to. But what I would do is, obviously, you got to stop your recording audio right now. And I'm also going to stop nozzles at the moment, just because right now it doesn't really do us a whole heck of a lot. So what you can do, actually, and this will involve a tiny bit of trial and error, is you basically go to this, the recording volume, and you set it to 0 point, whatever you think is going to be decent. So what I usually like to do is to drop it down to about 50%, and then I try again. So let's give nozzles another activation here and see how that sounds and how that works with our current settings here. As you guys can see, he's still a bit too loud. So after that, I drop it down to about 20%, and then 15 is usually my trial and error. And if you can't tell, basically what we're trying to avoid here is his volume getting into the red right here. That is when you'll experience things like clipping, which is essentially when the recording device, basically the laptop in this case, can't process the audio correctly because it's simply too loud, and the audio will get distorted. You'll hear like weird clicking sounds. The speakers and the audio just can't handle that level of sound, and you want to avoid that. And that's also going to be bad for your ears if you're listening at full volume or even low volume sometimes. So you really, really want to avoid that to have high quality audio. So as you guys can see, we've set it to 20%, and we're still getting a little bit into the red/orange. Now, some people might be okay with that, and maybe you're okay with that for your purposes, but for me, that's still just a tiny bit too loud, and that's usually when I will drop it to about 15, which is usually my go-to, to be honest. I usually go at about 15 here. So now we'll record here. And you can see here, it's a lot better. The bar does go slightly into the orange, but that's okay. If it's only every once in a while, that just kind of does the louder bits of his audio when he's speaking a bit more loudly. But as you can see here, this is the audio going out. You record it. I'm talking. It is not going to record my voice, which is what you want. So let's go ahead and give the the settings that are the correct settings a listen here. So I'm obviously going to start it a little bit later because some of this audio is just too loud. But now let's see how it sounds here.
Careful where you're going. I'm trying to sanitize this place first. When I'm done, God, you should have been left living. Oh, you make your eyes water, don't it? Yeah!
So there his audio rip successfully done for one of his phrases there. Now, something I want to point out that's kind of an issue with my laptop only is I know you guys, the audio probably didn't sound the greatest there. It sounded like there were pops in there and stuff like that. That is just my speakers. My speakers are acting up a little bit. When I use Audacity, it does that. That will not be the case with yours, most likely. It will sound good once the audio is fully exported there. I promise. It will sound just fine. It'll sound like my usual audio rips. And I can prove that at the very end of this video here. So, just a few notes. Obviously, if you want to learn more about Audiotonic or Audacity, either one, you can find a tutorial online. People have made tons of great videos, so you can kind of learn more details and more about the nuances and how to use it itself. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to pretty much leave it at that. But a few notes. If you do need to cut out certain parts of the audio, for example, you're cutting out your trial runs while you're trying to get the volume level the way you want it, you can just select it by dragging with your mouse or your mouse pad, and that white part is selected, and then you press backspace, and that deletes the tracks you don't want here. And so you might need to do that at the beginning. For example, there might be a tiny bit of space at the very beginning of your thing before the prop is running that you want to delete. You can just drag like this, and then you press backspace once you have selected what you want to select and what you want to delete, like so. And there you go. Like I said before, the popping is only when I'm using this interface right now, but once the audio is fully exported and all of that stuff, it'll sound just fine. It'll sound just like the prop itself. Unfortunately, a lot of the modern Spirit Halloween animatronics do have the audio is compressed by the company themselves when they put them on the speakers, so it never sounds quite as good as the audio used on their videos on the website, but it's still high quality and it still sounds pretty good. So you've got your audio the way you want it. Awesome. So what is the final step? The final step is exporting the audio and keeping the full quality, and then you can do what you want with it. You can add it to a video. You can save it for whatever you need to do it. You can use it on speakers or whatnot. So what you will do is go to File, which is up at the top here, the first thing on the left here. You go to File, and you will want to export your audio. You can save your project if you want. I wouldn't bother because it doesn't save it it's not in a format that you can just listen to using any audio app. So you'll go to Export, and you want to export as WAV. Now, a WAV is a lossless file format, so it doesn't compress. It doesn't compress your audio recording at all. So it keeps the full quality of it. If you export it to an MP3, the audio quality will not be exactly as you recorded it. Most of the time it won't be noticeable to the human ear, but I highly recommend exporting it as a WAV just to keep the full quality. Because YouTube, if you're using it to upload it as an audio rip to YouTube, YouTube does compress its audio a little bit, And so by exporting it as a wave, you're basically allowing it to compress it the least, keeping as much of the quality as you can by not compressing it yourself. So you go to export as wave here. It'll take a second to load here. And then it'll bring up a folder. You can save it wherever you want. You know, I have it saved in my documents for some reason under the Audiotonic app here. And you can save it as whatever you want. I'll just save it as nozzles for now. Save it as whatever you want. You press enter to save, and then that brings up this information. This is usually for like music and whatnot, if you're wanting to save like track listing and whatever. But you just ignore that since it's just an audio rip from Spirit Halloween. But yeah, now let's give the audio a listen outside of Audiotonic.
Careful where you're going. I'm trying to sanitize this place first. When I'm done, God, you should have been left living. Oh, make your eyes water, don't it? Yeah!
So yeah, guys, that is how you audio rip a Spirit Halloween animatronic, a modern Spirit Halloween animatronic, using Audiotonic/Audacity. So once again, you'll need basically a volume or a audio jack adapter that allows for headphones and mic, a auxiliary cable, and obviously your animatronic, and probably a laptop. I've seen people do it with a phone. I've done it once with a phone before. I don't like doing it that way as much, just because I'm not able to adjust the volume levels quite as easily and in the same way. I'm sure there's a way of doing it. It's just a little bit harder and a little more tricky. But I hope this helps, guys. If you have any questions, please ask in the comments down below. I'm sure I can help you guys. Try to do my best here. I'm not super used to doing tutorials, but if you enjoyed and you want more tutorials from me, let me know in the comments down below. And I will do my best. I know the lighting was a little weird, but I just wanted to make this video now. Give you guys the gist of how you can do an audio rep for a Spirit Halloween animatronic. It's actually very simple, very easy. Because of the external audio jack that they include with the speakers for external speakers, which is really nice. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.